Welcome to Beard Bytes. I'm Hadi. That's Ahmed. Too bad none of us are named Ben because this is episode 10. Okay, hopefully that worked.
I did not hear anything,
That's
bro.
fine. It's not for you. It's for
I
them.
feel I feel like I feel like I'm a I don't know if you've seen those pictures of the dog on like 4th of July. He's just wearing the headphones. I'm just
Oh,
there. I'm just chilling. Just like,
I
what's
played the
going on?
Ben 10 intro theme song at that.
Bro, we're gonna get copywritten, dude. What the
It's just the first like 10 seconds. It's fine.
No, dude. You guys need to You guys need to understand. I've been talking to this guy, Hadi. I was like, hey, bro, maybe how about for one of these episodes we just switch it up and we add like some lo-fi music in the background.
Oh yeah, we can do that this time.
And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
royalty free. And he's like, no, dude, I don't want to get copyrighted. Dude plays freaking Warner Media Ben Tennyson theme.
Shh.
God damn, man. What the heck is
A
this?
man does
All
not
right,
speak
guys.
ill of Ben 10 theme song. I'm just saying right now, bro. That theme song is elite. I think Warner Bros. Will understand. They're like, you know what? These two guys are on the come up. It's cool. And they'll let it slide, you know?
I don't know, man.
Oh, man. How are you? How was your week? How's everything? How's life?
That's a loaded question, dude. I mean, this work's been annoying,
Hmm.
so there's that. But I mean, I've just been chilling.
Nice.
It's getting warmer where I'm at, which is nice. The sun's coming out. Um, been watching more than I have been playing. So, at the moment, just watching season 2 of Severance.
Ooh, okay.
Very on point with how I'm feeling about the workforce. It's a great show. Honestly, I think Severance and Ted Lasso like are like punching so hard for Apple TV,
Mm-hmm.
like to the point that like I didn't even think I wanted to get Apple TV. I mean, I think we're using my mother-in-law's, but still it's
Thief.
better. It's one of the best streaming platforms I think so far, just for Severance and Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso,
Mm-hmm.
chef kiss, dude, so good, man.
Yeah. So for context, I was over at Ahmed's this past week. Had a lot of fun, obviously. And we were sitting there and we've caught up on Severance together and then we watched the newest episodes together as well. And then he also said, dude, like, you need to try Ted Lasso while you're here. I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, let's try it. And we binged all the way all the way up through like season 2, episode like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It was insanely good.
It was, like, literally in 2 days they did that, man.
Yeah.
But it was dude, Ted Lasso is just so good. I don't know how to explain it. It just
I think the humor is really good. And
Mhm.
I think the jokes and like the character writing is really good. So out of the 3 big ones, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, and Parks and Rec, for me, Parks and Rec is up there. It's like the best one. And then it goes The Office, and then it goes Brooklyn Nine-Nine. With Parks and Rec being the best for me, at least, I think it has like the best character writing. It has everyone feels like a contributing character and all this stuff. The reason Office is number 2 for me is because I genuinely feel like some of the characters just don't matter. And I think that like you can tell who the show's about, and that's fine. Obviously, you can have a main character, but for me personally, I would prefer if more characters got time in the spotlight. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I didn't really enjoy as much, just because one, it's cop propaganda, and two, I feel like it's a bit like the humor isn't as like clever, if that makes sense. You can kind of see where a lot of jokes are going. Not to shame anybody who does enjoy it. It's just for me, it wasn't my thing. The thing with like those kinds of shows is that there's some aspect of the comedy that like, oh, like they rely on this kind of joke or they like miss this or this miss that or whatever. I feel like Ted Lasso does a really good job of like incorporating really fun, like good, clever humor while also like not being too like crass, if that makes sense, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
And
Like, they write Ted Lasso in a way where he like, for example, okay, like, to go back to The Office, like, Michael Scott is very like, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna lean heavy on the stereotypes, like, of these characters," right? Like, "Oh,
Mhm.
Michael is just, like, this really annoying, kind of narcissistic boss. Dwight is this, like, super, uh, stick up the butt kind of
Right.
goody two shoes kind of guy, right? And Ted Lasso, you look at on surface, you're like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Like Ted Lasso is just this stupid guy, but then you see layers of him that like he perseveres, but it's still like super goofy, optimistic, but it's not like a dimwit the whole time, right? Like he has his bearings, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it captures kind of like the um I don't want to say a southern hospitality, but it kind of subverts some expectations, which I think is really good, and
Mm-hmm.
it just has like okay, it's interesting because like dude, we were watching. I was watching with Hedy like the first couple episodes, and I remember just seeing something. It like just made me feel so happy, and like and then it reminded me like of something that happens in season 3, and I almost started crying because it's like the type of show where it's like, damn, bro, like I you just wish the best for this guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. It really it's a happy go lucky kind of vibe. Um,
Yeah.
if you don't like here's the thing, it's not a show about soccer. It's the background.
Yes.
It's literally you don't even you rarely see any games being played. It's all about the situation outside the soccer field.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So,
Yeah, it is. It is there is some soccer involved, but it's not like a crazy like huge plot point. And I know that sounds like goofy to say for a show that's like, you know, looks like it's based on soccer, but I would say give it a shot. I'm not into soccer and I might get into soccer because of this show. It's like a really fun, interesting premise
yeah.
and good show.
It's
Uh
it's I this is random, but it's the same way that Better Call Saul is not about a lawyer or so yeah,
it's not
like
about the law specifically.
it's not yes.
Yes, it's not like
It
Suits, where Suits is
yeah.
like that's the main thing, and that's good for its own reasons. But this is very different, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
And
that's
then we
that.
also watched Severance. I don't want to say too much because obviously people may not have watched, but season 2 is really good. The only worry that I have for this show is I really hope they don't drag it on. You know?
It depends how they handle the show because it plays the cards close to the chest,
Correct. Yeah.
and you can't really discuss it right now because
Yeah, we can't.
it's a good show. Like I think the elevator pitch, but it's there's a dumb joke here. Uh, the the premise is what if you can split yourself into a work persona and a personal persona so that way you don't have to remember the times of you going to work.
Hmm.
And so like, oh, this is so liberating. Now you just feel like you're always experiencing your free time because like you don't remember when you're working. So you just all you remember is that you just drive to this place and then all magically you're done with work and now you just go back home.
Hmm.
Like, okay, that sounds cool. So that's the premise of the show. Um it's a lot cooler than that, but just obviously you can't really talk much about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Good show. Give it a watch. I think that's it. Right. That's all we can
yeah.
really say until way later.
Yep. 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 Yep.
What else have you been playing, watching? Anything interesting besides those?
I just got Astrobot yesterday, so I've been playing. I
Oh,
played
okay.
like a little bit of that. Uh, very cute game. Uh, I like the I like how it combines all the aspects. Okay. This is a very dumb thing. I don't know if it's just because haven't played on the PlayStation in such a long time,
Mhm.
but the PS5 controller, like just for context, has all these like very like like sophisticated motors and for vibration and stuff, right?
Right.
The way Astrobot uses those like the vibrations is very cool because like you can feel like the vibration going from like very accurately like when going from like the right side of the controller to the left side whenever something on screen happens, and it's like blurring a lot of like the audio to from the speaker, controller speaker.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it like when you're seeing all this stuff happen on screen and like you're taking your like little footsteps and depending on what surface you're running on. Like if you're running on snow or ice or water or whatever, like you feel different vibrations, and it's I don't know if it's just like gimmicky, like it probably is, but like it just helps kind of sell the whole feel of the game. Um, that plus like the platforming is just like kind of cutesy.
Well, the
And
thing
you're just
is,
kind of jumping
yeah,
around and doing stuff. But like, I haven't gotten to the hard levels. I'm literally on like the second or
the very
third world.
beginning. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
I think when it comes to different things like that, like I think for example Nintendo with all their first party games, Mario Odyssey, Mario Party, they do a really good job of like showcasing what exactly like their controller can do, you know? The vibration and like, hold it this way, use it this way. I think it's really cool. Like the fitness one. I think that's super sick where you attach it to your leg and you attach it to the ring. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I forget
whatever.
the name,
But
but
yeah, you
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about, right? I think that
Yep.
stuff is really sick. I think the issue comes is that like Sony has that tech in the controller, but they don't have enough games to like showcase that, you know? They have
Yeah.
like the adaptive triggers or whatever, and that's cool, but like the motors inside the controller and the
Dude, that
sounds, like you were just
honestly,
saying.
the adaptive triggers are actually very annoying in general because
Mm.
like there's games I played with like Last of Us when you have a bow and arrow. Dude, my index finger has a bicep the way I'm having the resistance band on this thing, dude.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it's like they just have it for the feel, but at some point it's just like, okay, dude, it's exhausting.
Mhm.
But this one
Mhm.
I feel like it's doing some of the gimmicks in a way where it actually feels good. I will see how the rest of the game plays out. I mean, must be good at one game of the year. So
Yeah.
I don't
That is
know.
true. Cool. We'll
Yeah,
see how that
so
goes.
that's it on my end, man. What about yourself?
What did I played a lot of games. So I was I was at Ahmed's place for this past week and I got home recently, so I've been playing like Rivals, things like that since I got back. It's really fun. I've kind of hit the point in terms of on quick play where I'm jumping, I'm like, what do I feel like playing? I don't care about the team right now. Not to say like if the team needs a healer or whatever, like I'll do it eventually, but I'm really just like I really want to play Moon Knight this game. I'm gonna practice my Moon Knight and I throw into it. And I'm like, it's quick play, who cares? In ranked, I'll switch to whatever. But regardless, that's going good.
You're the reason why there's 5 DPS on a team,
That's when I'll
basically.
switch to healer. That's how I'm like, all right, I don't want, that's when I'm like, all right, I'll do whatever. So, uh, but it's fun so far. Then at Ahmed's place, I played on Ahmed's PS5. I downloaded Bloodborne and played some Bloodborne on his PS5. It's the PS4 like crap edition still. It's reinvigorated me. We need Bloodborne back, baby. Let's go. Bloodborne is coming back this year.
This dude was literally like a couple of
Last week or last podcast.
he's like, guys, maybe we don't need Bloodborne. You know, it's fine. When the
Nah.
Game Awards flopped.
Hopefully this year. Hopefully this year. Hopefully this year. We have a story about that later this week or later in the episode. Then I also played some Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on the PS5. Really cool game so far from the very little I played of it. I might pick it up eventually, but I do think that it's a huge tech demo, which is fine, not a bad thing, but it's just really funny where it's like, look how fast these load times are when you go through a portal. Whoa! It's like, all right, man, I got it. Like,
I mean, it did come out at the very start of the thing,
yeah, I know, but
the
like,
generation.
eh, I
Yeah.
don't know that like for me, it's not enough for
Yeah,
me to
yeah.
be like, whoa, like I don't mind a loading screen. I don't mind waiting like a couple seconds, but regardless, it still looks really cool. I might pick it up later and play it some more. So we'll see how that goes.
Mhm.
And then I also
Yeah.
played on my Steam Deck. I played some Dark Souls Remastered, and then I'm like, man, this game is great, very fun. My comfort game. I'm still playing it on my PC. And then I also played some when I got back home, some Cyberpunk, and I also downloaded Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden Black 2 Remastered. I've never played any Ninja Gaiden games like that, and so I was like, let me give this a shot. It's remastered. It came out today essentially. Let me try it. Pretty fun, honestly. It is difficult. I do understand why people are like, this is hard, this is unfair, but it's fun. It's difficult in a sense that like, okay, if you can lock in, like you can do pretty well, I think.
Um, Yeah, I it's it's interesting because they like I didn't get to play Ninja Gaiden. Like I played the demo when I was in like middle school or something.
Hmm.
But the it it's so weird because like I watched you play it for a bit,
Hmm.
and that's and some of the ninjas that you kill just or that you're about to kill just like suicide themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like and they just blow up. It's like, dude, what's happening here?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't figure that out either for a bit. I was like, why are they
Wakanda
exploding?
forever, and then just yeah.
Yeah. It's a very interesting it's a very interesting style. I've heard that some boss fights are just straight up unfair. Like you'll leave the boss arena and there's like invisible mines and things like that. And if you die to those, you have to just restart the entire fight. So I look forward to that being my rage quitting point, but we'll find out, I guess.
Mm-mm.
And the last thing I played, very little love. It finally hit me. I got into Metaphor. I opened it up on my Steam Deck. I was playing it. I was in the final dungeon. I was exploring, and I was like, man, everything in this final dungeon is like level like 65. I'm currently level like 60, 61. And it's not that I couldn't do the fights, but it's one of those things where the fights were so unoptimized to where it was just a slog to get through. I was just like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm tapping out. And so
Yeah.
I've tapped out of Metaphor officially. I'm done. I uninstalled it up from
Mm.
everything. I don't want to play it anymore. I don't have a desire to go back. I don't know. What do you?
Yeah.
What? I don't know. I know you said
I
you've
mean,
already said your
bro, I
piece about
mean,
it.
we landed on the same conclusion. It's it's unfortunate that like the game is like that, like where it expects you to grind so hard. W- That's the tough thing, right? It's like the game is like time based, and you have to like in order to grind. There isn't like an efficient way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In everything you do, bro, you go to sleep at each time. You talk to somebody at each time. Like it's overbearing sometimes. But it's a cool concept. But I think if they like balanced it better, it would be. I could see this being game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand honestly. Looking back, if they had given this game of the year with my experience, I'd be like, dude, that's kind of crazy. Because like, that's
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a very glaring problem where the like it's not just a difficult fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's after the dungeon, insane. Like the ramp up even goes higher. So it's like you fight the end boss like 3 times, and like each
Yeah.
time he transforms, and it's like okay, dude, like
Yeah.
what?
Exactly. And the thing is also like and this might be my own fault, but I played the game on hard mode and I got up to that point and it wasn't it was difficult, but it wasn't so difficult that I was like, okay, this is impossible, you know? Like it was doable. It wasn't too bad. The issue that I had with the game was that like and I said this before, I don't mind a grind in a game. I don't mind actually grinding. I did it like crazy in Yakuza 7 and I downloaded Yakuza 8. I plan on doing Yakuza 8 because I really enjoy the combat and all that stuff. And it's very clear, like, oh, this is a space for grinding. Let me do that. But in Metaphor, it's not so clear. And unless
Mm-hmm,
you are told, like you told me, hey, grind these crystals out. If I didn't do that, I would be way lower level before I got into the game. And I did like 90% of the side quests. I think I did most, not all the side quests, if anything, except for the very end game dungeons.
mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where balancing the time and balancing the ability to grind and all that stuff. It's a cool in concept. I don't think it's for me. I don't know if I'll try another one of these games, but I am glad I did try this one. I think music, visual art style, and just overall like depth the game has is good, but I don't think I would pick it up again, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a bit wary of trying out more Atlas games, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good ride.
Yes, it was a good ride. I did put in like 89 hours or something into it, so I did put in the time and I did enjoy it. It's just the end slog for me was a bit too much.
Hmm.
That being said, there is one more game that I played. Did you get to play this game as well.
I did not. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, fair enough. The last game that I played was Limbo. I played about like an hour and a half of it. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to wait till
Hey,
next week?
go for it,
Okay,
man. Yo, my Game Pass is ending at the end of this month, so I mean, it's
that is true. That
I'll
is
have to
true.
re up. So you have to keep it
I
going,
gotta
man.
I gotta carry. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Limbo, developed by Playdead as well and published by them. It was released on in 2021. The game itself is it's not too big of a game. It's a 108 megabyte game. It only takes about 3 hours to beat.
Limbo 20. Wait, I'm sorry, 2021.
Yeah,
No way. I remember this game coming out on like the Xbox, like
dude,
Xbox 360.
this game is old, brother. Not that old, but it's old. Your memory's failing you, old man.
Okay, nah, dude. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Live check right now.
Did it come on the Xbox 360?
2010, dude.
What?
Yeah, Limbo came out in
The
2010.
why? Hold on. Wait, what am I looking at then? Hold on. Am I looking at the wrong thing?
Guys, he played, bro.
Release date 2021. That's what the Xbox page says.
All right, this guy was so confused. He's like, guys, this game was released in the year 200 BC.
Wait, did it get re-released?
Yeah, I think it got re-released.
Limbo release date. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, guys, this game was very 0 out of 10. There was no bar for me to go low on. Um, this is a joke about playing Limbo versus I. No,
Boo!
man, just cut this out, man. I'm done here. It's been a long day, dude.
Okay.
I don't want to even what do you
Maybe
want me to
that's
say?
I don't know why it's saying 2021 on the Game Pass thing, but yes, 2011 is the or 20 whatever the right date is the correct date that Ahmed said. Limbo, is it gas on Game Pass? I'm going to be honest. This is another one of those not for me, but I get what it is and I understand the impact that it had at the time. Limbo is very much a indie darling where it's like when you think of indie games, you're like, I want a game that's unique. I want a game that tells a very interesting story, if not like a story that we haven't seen. If it's not a story we haven't seen before, or a story that we have seen before, just told in a very interesting way. This is one of those things where when I say indie game, this very much fills that category. The game itself is a side-scrolling light puzzle game, meaning that like you go towards one side of the screen, constantly towards the right side generally, and you're trying to solve puzzles, and whether that has you backtrack a little bit to stop an enemy, to reroute your path. There are different puzzles, different things like that that you can deal with, or that you will be dealing with, and it's a super straightforward linear game. The game itself, I would say honestly, I would give it like a 8 out of 10 for what it does, what it accomplishes, what it provides to the genre of indie games, to where it's like you can tell stories in a more interesting way. It's very stylized. It has a very interesting puzzle structure, but it's one of those games where I don't think it's for me. I did try it and I did play quite a bit of it. It only takes about 3 hours to beat. I played about like an hour and a half about of it, and it just didn't click with me for whatever reason. I don't know if it was because it was too slow. I don't know if it was just because I'm not into the puzzles, but it's very much like a slower atmospheric type game. And that's not to say it's bad. It's just one of those things where I personally it didn't latch me like a lot of other people. So for that reason, I would say it's an 8 out of 10. I would also say it is gas on Game Pass, simply because it's a very short experience. It's a very interesting experience. And if you look at it from the context of when it came out, very much genre defining. So yeah, I would say Limbo is gas on Game Pass.
Heard it here, man.
Yes,
I don't know what to
sir.
tell you.
All right. Do we want to figure out what's next for the next gas on Game Pass?
Yeah, I need to figure out how I'm gonna. Guys, this is gonna get expensive if I have to, if I don't have Game Pass.
I could
I'll probably be able to re up, but let's just roll it. Let's see here. All
okay.
right, you want to do the same thing as we did last time? Roll two, pick one.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's see. Where is this? Citizen Sleeper 2. No, I sorry, I was just reading. That's not what I got.
Okay, ready?
Where's the random function?
It's on the
Oh, there we go.
game. Yeah. Okay, you got it.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Okay,
ready?
yeah.
Three, two, one. Let's see what we get here.
Hmm.
Okay, what'd you get?
I got Octopath Traveler 2.
I got Car Mechanic Simulator 2021.
Dude, actually,
You want to try it?
dude, that sounds fun, man.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do Car Mechanic Simulator. I will install it and we will see how that goes. I'll pause this install right now so I don't have to. Okay. The next gas on Game Pass will be Car Mechanic Simulator 2021.
Look, okay, I'm just gonna say, dude, power washing simulator, really fun. And who knows, maybe changing oil is
Surgeon
also fun.
Simulator, pretty fun too. So who knows? Maybe this will be the sweet happy medium,
Mm.
Cool. All right. So tune in maybe next week, maybe week after next for our thoughts on that. We'll see how that goes. But that is our weeks. That is what gas on Game Pass. Now we get into the gaming news. First things first that we should get into is the Xbox Developer Direct that was hosted on the 23rd. This is what's up?
Shambles.
Shambles.
Straight shambles. I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna jump right in. I'm doing Donald Trump hands right now. I'm talking about, man,
Xbox is in shambles. They're not releasing the
listen, man,
games.
for so long. Look,
Hold on.
I've been going to the
Pause.
I've been going to
Pause.
the wait. No, I'm gonna just jump straight into it. I'm gonna jump straight into
No,
it, man.
I know, but no.
I
Okay.
have to get into it. We can listen. This is the big thing, right? Okay. Side note: I've been working out. I've been going to the gym for almost 6 months now, right?
Mashallah.
And when I started going to the gym, I would hit the treadmill first, get the cardio. I was like, man, this is boring. Let me put up a YouTube video. Every YouTube video that I was watching from this one channel, I'll pull up the channel on the side, but these guys leak news or like talk about discussions, and they were like, "Oh, dude, freaking Oblivion remake in the works. Is it remake? Is it remaster? I don't know." And then like it started off as a remaster, but then they're like, "No, this is so intense. All the changes they're making, it's a remake." And they were talking. There was all these leaks from verified people that were working at the company called Virtuoso or Virtuos. Um, and like this is the same company that's handling the Metal Gear Solid remake. And this was freaking 6 months ago. And then prior to this, right, in December, we were talking about the leaks as well. And then leading up to this developer direct, uh, everybody, all channels were talking about this. It was on Twitter, man. It was on TikTok. It was everywhere. What do? They don't release it. They don't talk about it. Look, Microsoft, man, we need something from you. The people want stuff, man.
For context, last
Bro,
time we recorded,
I gave all that, and you said for context.
For context, Ahmed was diehard set on the mystery game that Xbox was going to announce as the developer direct was going to be. Was it Oblivion? Is that the right word?
Yeah, Oblivion
remake
or remake. Yeah,
he was so hard on it. He was like me with Bloodborne at the Game Awards. He was like, "Bro, it's happening."
okay, but there was proof.
Sure, buddy.
I mean, it's gonna happen. They're gonna showcase it
eventually, yes.
But it's just stupid.
My prediction is that we will. No. I mean, I agree with you. My prediction is that we'll get it by this year for sure. That's my take. When I don't know, but we'll see. I guess maybe Game Awards. I don't know.
They have Avowed. So I guess there's two things that Todd Howard,
I forgot about
the director for Bethesda, like a couple months ago, he's like, "Hey man, I really want there to be kind of like a short timeline from when we announce something to when it's in people's hands." I think that's why with Starfield, actually not Starfield. I think when they did the Starfield Direct to when the game came out, it was like I think a short window. So I think they're probably for two things. One, gonna wait until Avowed is released, or after it's released, which comes out in February right? That Avowed is a um the elevator pitch is uh Elder Scrolls in the Path of Exile universe made by Oblivion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's like, and if Oblivion made an Elder Scrolls game, it would look like Avowed. So they probably don't want to release two of the same game at the same
Ah,
time.
okay, that makes sense. So probably definitely after then, but
Yeah, yeah. So maybe like in the winter time is my guess.
maybe, yeah, maybe when Xbox doesn't have much coming out then, but we'll see. Do we know if a new Halo game is releasing this year? We don't, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, regardless, the developer direct did happen, and I actually really like this format. I like how the studios can come in and talk about what they're passionate about, what they've been working on. It kind of gives like a nice, friendlier vibe versus like someone on stage being like, "Oh, this is what they have. This is what they have." You know. I don't know if you watched the actual direct, but
I didn't, to be honest, but
okay, okay.
I just opened up Twitter and I just saw a bunch of Ninja Gaiden and I threw my phone on the ground.
It should have been
Big time.
me.
What the heck?
Yeah. So what was announced was first thing was Doom Dark Ages is releasing May 15th, whereas the first game's like tagline was run and gun. The second one was jump and shoot. The third one's tagline is going to be stand and fight. And they really emphasize this by showing off a lot of shield gameplay, a lot of melee gameplay, a lot of different enemy design that facilitates that kind of parry and kind of like standing and fighting your standing your ground and fighting like design choices. I'm excited for it. I'm definitely gonna play it. I'm definitely gonna play it on Game Pass because I have it and I don't want to pay for it if I can help it. So yeah, looks cool. I don't know if you have any thoughts about Dark Ages, but
I don't know, man. For some reason, I think the first Doom got me hooked because wasn't expecting anything,
mhm.
and then the second Doom felt like there was too much going on.
I actually feel the same way
So
in a sense that I enjoyed the first one more than the second one.
yeah, yeah. So I hope this one, since they're kind of making this more like in the interviews, they were saying, oh, they want to make Doom guy more like a tank,
Hmm,
right?
hmm.
Or is it M4 Abrams or whatever the tank name is called? They're like, oh, that he's very intentional with how he moves and you're kind of a bit more grounded in how you feel. Also, shout out to we have one friend, one of our listeners. He's a super huge Doom fan. So I'm assuming he's also stoked for this. So
Yeah,
um
I
yeah.
I do think that the prequel. I'm wondering why they made it a prequel versus a sequel. And not to say from a story, I understand from a story perspective, like what the what happens in the end of the second game, the end of the DLC, like pretty much puts a definitive cap on like the character. I do think that doing a prequel is interesting because you know actually no, never mind what I'm about to say. I was just gonna I think that they had the giant mech fights, they had the giant monster fights, and they had a bunch of cool new tech that I'm excited to see. So I am interested to see how they like expand the lore of the Doomslayer, and excited to see
Yeah.
how they build it out and just
Yeah.
the gameplay as
Cuz
well too.
cuz it was interesting in the first couple of games. I like number 1 and number 2 is that they uh you would see like Templar Knights sort of
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like give you like the ghosts of them give you I think if you were trying to
Weapons
get
and
like an
buffs and things like that, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
it's like, well, why is freaking Sir Arthur over here? Like it doesn't match up. So I guess for them to kind of go back and explain
yeah.
some of that might be interesting, you know?
And I'm a huge mark for fantasy, so too. So I am down for this kind of this vibe. The next thing that they announced, I don't know if it was the next thing. I'm not going in any particular order, but the other announcements that they had were Ninja Gaiden 4. It's the newest entry in in 10 years. I don't think they gave a specific date. All they said was 2025. You play as a new character, then Ryu Hayabusa, but Ryu Hayabusa is in the game and he does play a pivotal role. And I think you can play as him on the side as well. It looks cool. It's made by Platinum Games in partnership with Team Ninja. The thing with Platinum Games though is that a lot of the people who really made Platinum what they are in terms of action games have kind of left the studio. I don't know if you saw, those are the guys who are doing the
Mhm.
Okami remake and things like that. So we'll see if this is going to be any good. It looks good. It looks like a fun action game. I'm just curious to see what the new, if it's going to be like as difficult as the old ones were, as people said, and is it going to be like capture that same spirit? I don't know, but it looks neat.
Yeah. N- yeah. Same. No comments on my end.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it's gonna play because it looks like it from the gameplay. It looks like it plays more like a platinum game,
Mm-hmm.
whereas I think Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3 had this specific like I guess the animations looked super fluid
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in 2 and 3, and also the camera style was like it wasn't like over the shoulder. It was like, oh, we're gonna put the camera in like the corner of the room because
Mm-hmm.
I that's the way I could describe it. So I'm interested to see how fans of this game look at Ninja Gaiden 4 and maybe if they feel like it's losing some charm or like what makes the game like like a Ninja Gaiden game feel like a Ninja Gaiden game instead of just a generic hack and slash.
Right.
But I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you. So we'll see. We'll see what they change. And then the second thing from Ninja Gaiden that they announced was that Ninja Gaiden Black 2. It is a remaster of the original. It's made in Unreal Engine 5. It looks, stunning and it plays really well. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything more to say about it than I've been playing it. It's fun. I do want to play more. I'm liking it. I don't know if you want to try it as well, but it's pretty cool.
It's not scratching my tickling fancy, whatever
Mhm.
business word. I need to get out of here, man. I feel like I'm stuck in responding in business talk.
In
Hey,
corp
let's touch base there.
Let's touch base
Yeah,
later.
corpo talk.
Yeah, there you go.
Choom
Choom.
or whatever. Yeah,
Choom.
corpo to be.
Yeah, and then the next thing that they announced was South of Midnight, which is launching April 8th. For those of who don't know, this is that game that is made by a Canadian studio, and the game takes place in like Louisiana South kind of mythology. So it looks neat. I am actually kind of excited to try this one just because we haven't gotten a game in this setting that much. So I want
Hmm.
to see how this plays. I want to see how this, feels, and I do want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm worried because like they made like this. They made 3 games, or I guess 2 games technically. They made Contrast, which was like the shadow puzzle game. We Happy Few, which I
Oh,
think
okay.
that had an issue. Okay, yeah, that had an issue with how it was handled in terms of the launch because it used to be it was like Indiegogo or not GoFundMe. What was it called?
Kickstarter?
Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter kind of game, but then 2K messed up something with the publishing. So South
Hmm.
of Midnight, I hope maybe they can hit their. I mean, third. Third, whatever the
Third time's the
charm.
charm, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Not for me apparently, but
You're trying your best, brother.
the
It's okay.
yeah, the art style looks cool.
It gives
Uh,
telltale. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
yeah, it there's like that, and also like it has like this kind of slow frame rate kind of vibe from Into the Spider Verse. Um, like that kind of like jittery animation. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do know what you're talking
So
about.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, another action game doesn't hurt.
Yes, sir. And if it's good, then perfect. If it's not, then I didn't pay for it.
And then, oh my god, a DEI, they're in the game. Can you believe it?
Please, not
What do
again.
you mean I'm not playing? What do you mean I'm not playing a bald 30-year-old white man?
In southern Louisiana. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that all you know what's crazy? All those characters, main characters for like that are bald 30-year-old white guys,
Mm-hmm,
they
mm-hmm.
always have marriage issues, bro.
Yep, yep. They're
Like
never happy.
this is really actually if you think about it, this is just the whole thing about um art imitating life, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm. Hot
I'm just
take, hot
saying,
take,
man.
hot take.
Hey man, that is just a take, bro. What do you-
Yeah. And then the last thing that was showcased was Clair Obscure Expedition 33, launching April 24th. This is a turn based game. Looks neat. Story
Mhm.
looks interesting. I don't know if I'll pick it up, but it looks cool.
Brother, it's free. What do you mean
It's
picking it
true.
up?
My bad.
Yeah, paid
It comes with the Game Pass,
Nah,
brother.
yeah, it comes with egg rolls. Sorry,
uh,
that was just a very dumb TikTok meme.
brain rot.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
bro, they really need to actually ban this app again. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Side news: TikTok was banned, and now it's back in America. So we on the come up, baby. We're still here. So
yeah,
we'll see.
uh,
We'll see if it gets banned again.
yeah.
That
Clear
could.
Obscure for the
Mhm.
real quick. I feel like Clear Obscure looks super stylized. I don't know. I think it's probably because I got exposed to JRPGs from like turn-based RPGs from playing Yakuza Like a
Mhm.
Dragon.
Mhm.
But the fact that like there are more of these games that have more action-oriented um I don't say set pieces, but like usually in turn-based games, like if you're playing Pokemon, you press do Firebolt and Firebolt, Fireball. What the
Mhm.
heck? You do Fireball and then you just wait for the attack to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas this game and in Yakuza Like a Dragon, if you if you do an attack, it gives you an opportunity to like hit a specific button press to increase the damage. If someone's attacking you, then you can parry or mitigate your damage risk.
Mm.
So it makes the fight a bit more dynamic and not just smashing
Yeah.
things over and over. So
Yeah. Like the end game from Metaphor. Haha, got him. No, I'm just kidding.
got him.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But that concludes the developer direct. Only a few games announced, which that's usually how they do it. I don't mind the format. We'll see if it continues. If there's more rather this year where they showcase whatever Ahmed wants to see. Probably not, just so they keep disappointing him. But we'll see.
I mean, look, it's just they need a W, bro. They need something to get them on track.
Correct.
Surprisingly, Indiana Jones was kind of, I don't want to say a sleeper hit. It was really good. I wasn't expecting much out of it.
Mm.
If Avowed tanks, then listen, man, the road to glory is gonna stop.
Yep.
So I don't.
Yeah. Well, the speaking of Road to Glory, Assassin's Creed, it's back. It's better than ever. It looks almost the exact same in terms of parkour. I don't know if you saw the footage on here. They released some parkour gameplay, and it doesn't look like terrible, but it looks fine. It just looks like more Assassin's Creed stuff. And I'm generally not trying to hate. I'm not trying to be that like someone who's like, oh, it's trash. It doesn't, whatever. But I'm not really seeing anything that's like, whoa, that's like brand new. That's so cool.
I mean, like, what do you want from somebody climbing stuff?
No, I
It
know.
looks.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to say like it's bad, but I feel like the parkour is not what's going to get me into this game, if that makes sense, you know? But
I mean,
that might be me, but I know some people really enjoy the Assassin's Creed parkour, so it might be just my
like it.
fault.
I I can like so like one of the big not I don't say accusations. One of the big critiques levied against Assassin's Creed is, hey man, I've been seeing the same animations for the last like 3 games. It gets
That
kind.
is
I
true.
think that was more so like during the Ezio era
Mhm.
and into like Assassin's Creed 3 because they're like, dude, I'm seeing the same stuff over and over. Like, I don't like this. So the fact that they're kind of spicing it up is good as well.
That's true. That is true. There are a bunch of new things in here that look nice, so I do want to give credit where credit is due. It looks some of the animations things like that do look nice. So we'll see if this brings in a lot more people that people are like, oh yeah, this is it. That being said, there was a first look given to some creators, and I don't know if you've seen some of the reviews. Some of them have given
Yeah.
some pretty interesting thoughts. One of which being that there's a dynamic weather system to where it's like, if it's raining or sunny, like it affects visibility, it affects how you play, which I think is really cool. They also talked about how there's two different playable characters, and they said that, hey, this character can do this better, this character can do that better. Mainly, people were saying that they're probably going to play as the female character, which
Mm.
because she plays more like an assassin and she plays, stealthily and all that kind of stuff, which is what people really want to play in this kind of game. And um, generally, people have a more positive than negative view on the game. They say it looks cool, it looks interesting. I don't know if it's enough to like move the needle for Ubisoft and like to be like, hey, like this is like the golden goose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like I think it was gonna be tough for them to kind of pivot like like midpoint, I guess, to make like like genuine 10 out of 10 banger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one critique I have heard from the open, I guess, like the early build gameplay was the fact that in the past the play styles were kind of like okay, you had like the aggressive play style and the stealthy play style merged into one character.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, with Yosuke and like the ninja, you kind of segment like what type of play style you want, and there's sometimes like you like how do I say, the critique was that the like combat is like not super fleshed out, like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it's not like DMC or like
I mean, Ghost
super
of Tsushima is a
or
direct competitor, right? Like, let's just compare it
yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
it's not like super technical or super strategic in Assassin's Creed compared to like I guess like Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's not super flashy like DMC, right? It's you kind of standard kind of like Assassin's Creed combat, and then the stealth is not like Metal Gear Solid type of stealth, or it's not Splinter Cell style stealth.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when you combine both of those play styles together, it's like, oh, like the f the ebb and flow between the 2 is what was unique and cool about Assassin's Creed.
Right.
But now you split them up into 2 separate characters, it's, oh, well, now they both kinda feel a little bit shallow. That's what some folks said.
Mm,
I don't know
interesting. Okay.
if that's gonna be exactly the vibe, but I would assume more people like to play stealthier. Um and I feel like it might lean more into what Assassin's Creed Mirage was, because that, from my understanding, is supposed to be more of a return to form kind of um, yeah, of being more stealthy and yeah. So we'll see
Right.
how it goes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I am kind of curious to see what they how it feels to play. And again, that's just
Hmm.
because I'm not a huge fan of Assassin's Creeds. I didn't like grow up on them, but I am interested in. I do want to jump in and see, just because my most recent experience with all this is Ghost of Tsushima. So I want to see how it compares and kind of compare from there. So I am curious. But that leaves us with that concludes the Assassin's Creed news, I believe. Let me double check and make sure here. Yeah, that does conclude that. So the next thing that we have on the docket is that Shuhei Yoshida, who is a former PlayStation executive, was asked about the PSVR 2, and his response was not great. He basically said like PSVR 2 didn't become the PS2. And then the interviewer said, "Hey, what happened to PSVR 2, Shu?" And he said, let's move on. I don't really want to talk about it." And basically what's happening is that what he talked about was that or rather that's kind of what he said was like, "Hey, like it kind of sucked." And basically he also said that right after, what is this here? Basically he believes that like the headset's market reception failed to meet his expectations, and it kind of led to them killing the main studio behind making primary games for it, like first party Sony games. Essentially, you can buy PSVR 2 and you can connect it to a PC, but like there's no real support beyond that. It's kind of a system and kind of a function that kind of died out. I don't know if you got a chance to ever look at a PSVR 2, but it just wasn't something that sold well, you know?
Yeah, I would say from a function of a headset, it's apparently has good specs. If you have a good PC to run it against, like it has internal eye tracking, which even Oculus or the Quest doesn't have. It has a good uh, like like resolution inside as well. So
Mm-hmm.
um, apparently it's on sale for like 350.
It depends. So it was at 350 for a bit, and now it's back up to 550. So
Yeah,
that's also an issue with it, is that pricing wasn't great for it. It was a bit expensive for what it was, and there's not many games on it. It just continues
yeah,
the joke of like, what games does PS5 have? Not much. So
yeah. I think probably Sony, I think, was trying to like my mental picture, right? Is that like if you roll this back like a couple of years, is like Sony was quick to kind of jump onto VR, and I'm guessing they found like, oh, in the PS4, Xbox One era, like they had such a significant lead that they probably like, yo, if we hop onto VR and say, hey, we are the console, like we're the only place on console you where you can get a VR experience.
Mm-hmm.
Nail in the coffin for Xbox. But I think VR right now is not. It's I don't want to like man. We've been saying it's in the infancy stage for a while, but what I think requires folks to want to like I don't wanna say it requires folks to get up off and be active but, like, it kinda low-key kinda does. You kinda at the moment, you kinda gotta get up and move around and stuff. You need to have space to do all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, gaming on the, like, in VR is not super ubiquitous. Like, some of the control schemes are not uniform, and, like, what you can expect to do in one game, you can't do in another, right? Like, for example, in Half-Life Alyx, you can pick up a box and, like, stiff arm a zombie like, so that they don't get to you. So you get that level of immersion, but that doesn't translate to every single game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably whenever, like, the masses um, get, like, VR in their hands, then it'll like more people will make apps and like there's going to be more experimentation with this,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that'll be good in the future. But I think right now Sony, I think, just bet a little too much into VR,
Right.
uh because like Steam is like the breeding ground for like creativity, in my opinion, because like anyone can publish a game. um
Yeah.
and like no one has hit the head like it has gotten it right, like for like every style of game. Like sure, like you can play a racing game where you're just in a cockpit, okay, fine. But then like what how do you handle like movement in in a shooting game or a uh
Yeah.
like all these other type of games, so it's
Yep. I agree. So I do think that like the whole infancy VR's in its infancy thing, I kind of agree with you that we've heard that a couple times. I think it's more so it's just VR is so prohibitively expensive right now, and just it's a whole extra thing you have to buy. I just don't think that
mhm,
it's ready. The market's ready for it. So we'll see if VR does take place. But I do think, to be honest, while I would like it to be more emphasized, I think it's going to be relegated to being a secondary console type thing. Like I don't think people are going
mhm,
to
mhm.
mainline it anytime soon, nor I don't think ever, to be honest. But I'm also happy to be proven
Yeah.
wrong. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think a controller is going anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
So just like the controller, you know what else isn't going anywhere?
hmm.
17 PlayStation games, or rather 14. Okay, this story is insane. It's actually like a pretty, I think it's like the main story of the docket, to be honest. So what happened was PlayStation did the thing where
Oh my
they,
god.
dude, it's crazy. You open the tweet?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So PlayStation did this thing a couple years ago, where they bought Destiny because they thought it would be a good investment, and they thought that live service. What's happening is that Sony, from this is what I think, they're looking for a live service ticket to just pump out cash, whether that's Fortnite levels of cash or whatever the case is. But they want a good live service game that just makes it like, this is our cash cow. We're good for months, if not years, on this thing to build whatever we want and to build more projects like that. After seeing the success of things like Fortnite, after seeing the success of things like Helldivers 2, they're like, yo, this could be a really huge thing, right? So what happened was they announced, or rather not announced, but they kind of pushed into production a bunch of live service games. And some of them you can see on this tweet that some of them are, I'll read it out. So you have Destruction All Stars by Lucid Games, which was released. Gran Turismo 7, which was released, and then Helldivers 2, which was released. Helldivers 2, I would argue, is probably the most successful. Sony really jumped in on that and said, "Oh, we can make this our own thing by like forcing the PSN exclusivity and all that stuff." So it ruined some people's access to the games, but it still, it got their numbers up, and it's like a cash cow for them at this point in time, from what I understand. Then comes into the other ones. Concord, which was shut down, obviously. Fair Game, and then like with a dollar sign, TBD. Horizon multiplayer by Guerrilla Games, which is TBD. Marathon, which is TBD. Horizon MMO, which is also TBD, which I don't know who's asking for that. Meta Molecule live service game. Bungie, unannounced. And then there's Jason Blundell's LA studio game, which is also announced. And then Last of Us Online, canceled. Twisted Metal, canceled. Spider-Man The Great Web, canceled. London Studio live service game, canceled. God of War live service game, canceled. And then Bend Studio live service game, which was also canceled. Some of these games on this list are kind of crazy that they even came out of the concept stage in the first place.
Yeah, honestly.
I
Like, straight up, dude. God of War live service.
Stupid idea.
What are you doing? Who? Boy, we have to go collect. We have to go collect wood.
Yeah.
We have to give me 10 wood today.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, dude, what do I?
It's
Kratos has to go. Like, I don't know, man.
no,
You know what sucks? You know what sucks?
Yeah.
Legitimately, Spider-Man: The Great Web could have worked.
Could have. Yeah, it could have, but
Because okay, gameplay from the Insomniac Spider-Man games is okay. Like it does not hold a candle to Arkham Batman Arkham verse games, right?
Mhm.
But just the premise, like just to kind of keep people holding on until beyond the or whatever, is it beyond or Spider-Verse 3 comes out until that gets there. People really wanted it, and I think there was like some concept art that got leaked during
Mhm.
the hack that showcased like, oh, you can play as Gwen, you can play as Venom, you can play as Miles, you can play as
Oh, I didn't know that.
Peter Parker. Like it was like a pretty substantial thing, and it was kind of unfortunate to see it not progress forward.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, man. Like that, and honestly, the biggest crime is that they wanna they canceled The Last of Us, but they wanna release a Horizon multiplayer. Dude, so many people were so hyped and looking forward to
The Last of
Last of Us
Us.
Factions.
Yeah, I remember what
That
you were
I
saying.
honestly, dude, it was on par with Last of Us 1. Like, Last of Us 1 multiplayer was as good as Last of Us 1 story. It was like it was such a great package. Because it did something unique in the multiplayer, like back before extraction shooters and Tarkov,
Yeah.
like where these games were a thing, right? Because the premise of the of Last of Us Factions was that you couldn't run and gun, and inherently you had to kind of sneak and had some resource management,
Mhm.
uh, but you also had to perform well. Like you had to cap objectives, you had to get kills, but you had to do it in a way where you're also like can pick up resources for your crew. Also, you can pick up items to go ahead and craft things, and the
Mhm.
crafting is done in real time. So you have to like go find a corner craft thing, and like, oh my god, I hear a guy behind me, and shuffle around and go set a booby trap. It like captured the single player feeling in multiplayer.
Mhm.
I just did everything so well,
Mhm.
and then they had like something so established, so done, like executed well, and like was ripe for like expansion, uh, for like for like multiplayer and like enhancements, and it gets chopped down by freaking Bungie because they did um consulting on the game, and they're like, You don't have enough to be a live service game." And them dudes themselves suck, bro. Who are
Yeah,
you to talk, man?
dude,
They robbed us of this.
it's insane because what's happened is that Sony was chasing the live service like bubble so hard. They threw all these games into production, and then it's like reported to where. So did we talk about Blue Point last week or no? Or last time?
Yeah. We talked about it last time.
Okay. So what's happening is that the reason that we're getting this news now is because Concord came out and absolutely bombed, right? And that's like millions of dollars down the drain. Like 200, 300 million dollars just gone. That's it. A whole studio gone, jobs lost, all this stuff because of a huge blunder and how like a huge terrible idea, right? So then that Sony saw that, executives saw that, and they're like, oh my God, we need to make sure this does not happen again. Because with 17 games on this list, if even like 4 or 5 of them just super flop, like the God of War one or the Horizon one, they're
Mhm.
like out like maybe $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? With the amount of
Yeah.
cost, without a debt, and 200 million is like a low ball estimate. People are suspecting it's more that they spent on Concord in terms of marketing, in terms of development, in terms of extensions, all that stuff. So Concord retroactively killed off games that weren't even its own.
Honestly, it's better that that this happened now, if I'm being
Absolutely.
honest, man. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's just so unfortunate that they just I'm gonna be that guy again, bro. I do not care for Horizon multiplayer. Throw that away.
Mm-hmm.
Horizon MMO question mark. You can make an argument that you can do some sort of like Monster Hunter style game
Yep.
in the universe, but bro, I it's just so unfortunate, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
the like Twisted Metal like could be a good format for this type of game, but Twisted Metal is kind of boring. It's like you're just playing Mario Kart on steroids,
Mm-hmm.
and and I just looked it up that Jason Blundell, he was apparently like one of the head guys on Call of Duty Zombies. So
Oh.
to get a live service game from him could have been interesting, or I guess, like, it's saying unannounced, so, like, it hasn't been canceled, but,
Yeah, it
like
hasn't. It has not.
yeah, but, I mean, that sounds interesting, but, like, I really do not wanna see Bungie make a game. I like, whatever, man. They take Last of Us. Look, this is, like, the 4th freaking episode where I was like, "Oh my god, Last of Us." Dude, it was just it's like it's like when LeBron retires and like I'm not really a basketball guy, but then people are like, "Oh my god, I was there when
Mm-hmm.
he
The
was playing the
goat.
game."
The goat. Yeah, I got you.
LeBron.
LeBron. Hopefully, you
Uh,
will get your Last of Us multiplayer one day. You probably won't, but I pray for you.
I
Just like I
won't.
pray for myself to get Bloodborne. I wish the same energy that you give to me onto you.
That's crazy. Why you gotta say it like that, bro?
Oh
Uh,
man. Oh man. Well, another pieces of news. EA is in the news again because couple things. First thing, Veilguard, Dragon Age Veilguard, the game that released last year, uh, missed sales target by 50%. EA had forecasted this to make a lot more money, and it very clearly did not. It did not make anywhere close to it. That being said, some people have left the studio, have left BioWare. The main director, she left the company, but it's not. She explicitly has said, and it's one of those things where I kind of take her word for it. She's basically came out and said, I didn't leave because of the way the game performed. I left because I have a better opportunity that I wish to pursue. So, with that being in mind, I don't think it's tied to this 50% number. But back to the 50% number, it's kind of crazy how much like I don't know if it's EA over forecasting it or if like it's one of those things where they just missed the mark on a lot of things in terms of storytelling and all that kind of stuff. Because I know that some Bioware fans were not happy with it, and then I know that some Bioware fans were happy with it. Regardless, I don't know if I'm surprised that this number kind of came out and it was the way it was.
like, okay, for context, uh, so it says The new Dragon Age reached around 1.5 million people, and it missed expectations by about 50%. 50%. So that means they were expecting to sell 3 million units, which I'm
Hmm.
like, 3 million is kind of a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like uh, that's kind of ambitious. So,
It is a little
granted,
ambitious.
it is like a like multi-platform kind of situation, so you could
Yeah.
probably double dip and all that stuff. But I don't know, man. I feel like they need to be a bit
I
more
do
realistic.
I do think that the issue with this is that if you're trying to release a game that's part of a beloved franchise, and I have no stake in this claim, I'm not attached to Dragon Age or anything like that. But if you're going to release something like this and your expectations is like 3 million units, okay, fair enough, right? If Mass Effect 4 comes out and their expectation is 4 million units or whatever, I understand because Mass Effect is loved by a lot. However, it needs to be a banger in terms of like the reviews. Everyone has to love it. Everyone has to think it's the best thing ever. So that when but then the game came out and people were like, it's pretty all right, you know? Some people, not everybody, but some people. But it was enough to, I think, dissuade a lot of people from spending $60 on this game, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I guess we'll see if we get another Dragon Age after this. I'm sure we will, but time will tell on how long that takes. The next thing that we saw from EA was that Apex Legends has lost 70% of its players in 2024, which is a lot, dude. There's a lot. That's a lot of players that are not playing Apex anymore. And
Mhm.
I think they're basing this off of, um, I think they're basing this off of like the Steam charts, and they're currently getting 120,000 to 140,000 players a night, and that's not like a small amount by any means, of course, but that's kind of crazy to where they started at. Yeah, they have the numbers here. They started at 470,000, and this is in February of 2024, and now they're at 140,000 at the end of December of 2024. That's a lot of players that are gone, dude. That's insane. I wonder if it's just people getting tired of it. I wonder if people just don't, they're not adding enough to the game, like, I don't know. What do you think?
Uh, I don't know. I just like maybe I'm like the casual guy here because I haven't played Apex in such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like at some point it's like you have fatigue, right? Uh, like you can say with Fortnite, at least they're doing these collabs. Like okay, so I think Fortnite has gotten to this point where like nothing is really on brand for Fortnite anymore because they can just do whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like before you can argue that they had trouble kind of nailing down like the feel um of like how to make iterations or introduce like new weapons or concepts or items to I guess power-ups in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until like oh my god, Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet are in Fortnite. Dude, that's so and then it opened the door for them just, "Hey guys, like maybe player counts dropping off. Okay, add Goku. Frick it. Like do a Kamehameha." And, like now it's gone to the point where there's Godzilla in the game, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like they have a way of just like infusing things to just keep it exciting. Um and it's kind of like in that Roblox-esque place where, like,
Anything is possible.
yeah, like, you just go do it, and part of it's also there's, like, user-generated content, like, there was, like, a bunch of Squid Game maps,
Yeah.
so, like,
Yeah.
there's things like but then it's like, okay, what's Apex gotta do? Now Apex is, like, it can't do the same thing that Fortnite's doing,
Yeah.
and the only thing you can do is, like, how do you maintain, a competitive, BR kind of, um, like, player pool?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's, like, very limited what you can do, right? Like, I imagine, like, they made the game super peak, the best that it can be. At some point, people are gonna get tired.
Yep.
Um,
I agree.
and I think that's kind of what happened on top of, like having bad matchmaking, have a horrendous battle pass system, and like map rotations, which I think people really dislike. Because like there's some people, I forget which one. Like I think like people like King's Canyon, but they dislike the two other ones that are in rotation. So then if that one's in rotation, then it's like, okay, well, don't play for the next like 5 hours until your favorite map comes back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yep.
so it's like what?
Yeah. So, man, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. You know what this means, right? If Apex Legends dies, that means that Titanfall 3 can finally be in production. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but then, well, so what's gonna happen is they're not gonna make Titanfall 3 because Apex lost 70% of the revenue flow, and they were expecting five quintillion people to play it, but only 1 quintillion people played it. Come on, man, how do you expect them to make money?
50% below the sales target, whatever the hell they're. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Boo. God, that's probably what will happen. So we'll see where that goes. And the final story is that games industry analyst claims that game companies will hope GTA 6 will cost $80 to $100. He says a price hike is needed for market growth and that companies are hoping GTA 6 will be the start of trends of all games being more expensive. I man, I really hope this is not true. But if one game is gonna be able to push the margin of games being more expensive, it's gonna be GTA 6.
Yeah. That's true. I think that is going to be the one that kind of knocks things over. Um, I mean, I'll be honest, man. In hindsight, it's not that bad. Hold on, let me think about it for a second. Wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait, give me a sec, give me a second. I only buy like 2 full price games a year, right? So, like, what? An extra $30? Okay,
Nah,
whatever.
man. I think the limit is 70. Genuinely. $100 is a lot of money for a game, dude. Like, that's kind of crazy. Regardless of like, and the reason I'm saying this is obviously I'm not saying that the devs don't deserve money. I'm not saying that it doesn't take work to play a game or make a game. Of course it does. The issue is that like that's you like you don't buy many games in a year for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the trend of one game being $100 and then every game subsequently being like, oh well, let's push it to 100 also kind of raises the bar for like accepting shitty quality for
Mhm.
a lot more money. And the case in point that I make is that like, okay, well, what happens if um like EA decides, okay, well, we can do the same thing, and they do, and they're like, oh, the next Star Wars game, $100 easily, but it's EA, and so we know like when Star Wars Outlaws came out, it was in like a half finished condition. There was a lot of garbage behind it and all this stuff, but you're paying
Nah,
hundred
bro,
dollars
fraud
for it,
alert,
huh?
fraud alert. That was Ubisoft, man.
Oh,
Come
sorry,
on, man.
sorry,
Get the get
sorry,
no, sorry.
sorry, Ubisoft. Yes, you are right, Ubisoft. But like the parameter is set. It's like, well, we can charge $100 for it because people are going to pay for it regardless. Like I feel like there has to be an upper limit that companies should be able to charge for games, because if every game is $100, then I think that growth in the industry is going to stagnate because not people aren't going to buy $100 worth of games. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Mhm,
going to be
mhm.
more layoffs. There's going to be more things that's like, oh, we didn't sell X amount of copies of this game. We expected to sell, Dragon's Veilguard. We expected to sell like 3 million copies. Yeah, but the game's like priced at 100 million now or $100. So like we less copies are, in my opinion, I feel like are going to be sold because it's nearly double the price of games than like a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so the like right now, right? Like right now we're in like the $70 era, right? And even now you see some games come out at 50 or come out at 60, right? Like
Yeah,
Astrobot was like a $60 game, right?
yeah,
And that wasn't a $70 game. Um, who decides if it's 60 or 70?
publisher probably.
Yeah, yeah, but like it's
You're saying
there's
arbitrarily.
all it yeah, it seems like it's arbitrary, right? The like and I do agree like we're not at a point where games have been consistently coming out like in a good state that you're like, hey man,
Hmm.
uh, sure, I'm fine if we need to move the needle. Um, be like if like for example, like if you were to say, hey, you can buy this game for $60 or buy it for $80, and $80 is gonna be like the fully patched game on day one. I'm like, okay, I can see that, right? But then that's realistically not gonna happen.
Hmm.
Um,
Like you're saying
uh,
$60 and it might need a patch versus $80
like
and
I,
guaranteed it's going to be fully done.
yeah, hypothetically speaking, like if imagine EA comes out and says, "Guys, look, we've been selling games for $60 right now, but if we sell it for 80, we for sure can release games that are not buggy," right? Hypothetically speaking, like that's not going like this conversation isn't going to happen. But let's just
Hmm.
say we there is this conversation like would you want that value proposition? Because like they're saying, "Oh, like people are underworked and we have to run such a thin business and XYZ." Um
Hmm.
then maybe, right? The other thing also is,
Okay.
like, one thing to consider is that, like, the price of games has not really moved. So, like, so it's this thing, right? So, like, if you look at, like, the inflation, right? The cost, like like, a freaking, like, S Sonic cartridge costed, like, $60, like, in the '90s. For
Hmm.
inflation, that would be, like, 170 or
I see what you're
something.
saying. Yeah, yeah.
So some people like the people are saying that things haven't kept up because of inflation, right? On the counter head, like okay, imagine there's a line, right? Like you can imagine there's like a line that's constantly increasing. It's like the like the value of the dollar in relation to inflation, right?
Hmm.
Like the or I guess like like a fixed cost of $60, but like the true cost over inflation,
Hmm.
like which is like the like yeah, it technically costs more to get that $60 Sonic game today than it did in the past. Okay, technically speaking, like uh there are also way more people playing video games, so like they could
It should even out.
sell yeah. So I think the reason why it hasn't gone up before, is because like we saw such a mass influx of people getting into gaming. Uh, Kids at younger ages have gotten into games. Also,
Hmm.
people or that are older have gotten into games. Now you also have mobile gamers, and that's been happening since since like 2000, 2010, right? So like that big boom of all that stuff is happening,
Yeah.
and so they're like, well, like more people are coming in. Like let's just keep the cost as is. But now I feel like the people I don't think the bubble of the amount of gamers are is gonna grow substantially, right? Like I think you can game on like anything at this moment. So
I
I
see what
think
you're
the
saying.
market size is as big as it's gonna get, and it's like, well, dang, dude,
How do we,
like
how do we,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's it's like okay, now we have to go back to the original question of like, yo, that $60 Sonic game, like there's newspapers or like there's like adverts back in the day of like those games costing like 60, 70, and that's in that price. Now we're looking at here, obviously
Yeah.
games cost way more to make, um, because like the dollar value and XYZ, which
So,
honestly, I feel like
hmm.
sorry
No,
for
no, no,
rambling.
no. Go for it. Go for it.
I feel like there should be ways to make games cheaper, but obviously marketing budget is such a huge thing.
Hmm.
Uh 'Cause I would think that like, oh, like streamlines have gotten improved, but like I think there's a lot of new procedures of like capture, like motion capture, and you're getting like the best voice actors and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
That is and all these licensings, like because back in the day you can just have some guy on a electronic piano make a tune. Now you have to go license out music, for it to sound good or for it to be marketable, and, like, there's all these, like, other things that just balloon the value,
Hmm.
um,
So
so
I don't disagree. That's a very interesting take in the sense that like I haven't heard that before. I don't necessarily disagree with you in the sense that like yes, like the market. I those points you made are very good. The part where I think there's a disconnect and I think the issue with it is that if that money is going directly back to the developers and things like that, that like you know what I'm saying? Like if they're the ones
mhm,
who are getting
mhm,
the profits and things like that, then I would absolutely agree with you. However, since this $70 price hike in games, rather price hike to $70, yes, technically speaking, they can cover more of development, but we're still seeing not enough money is going to the people that it matters. Like the way that companies are structured is that more percentage of the money is still going towards CEOs and executives and things like that are making like millions upon millions of dollars where they can
Mhm,
buy like, like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cars. And yet in the next day, they literally just lay off like 30% of their staff, you know, games come out half finished, people are forced to crunch and things like that. So I think that the profit margins of things that companies are not balanced to allow for this extra price hike in the games, the up to $100, whatever the case is, to be distributed properly. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
in the world where everything is distributed properly, everything's like that, studio heads come out and say, "Hey, like straight up, we need more money to make these games and like all this stuff." I can agree with you 100%. But I think the system as it is now is so flawed that I think the fear that I have is raising this $100 in raising the games $200 is going to lead to obviously less sales because it's so much more expensive. And
mhm, mhm,
there's going to be companies that try it and it's going to be like, hey, your game is not a GTA 6. Not to say GTA 6 should be $100, but I'm saying in the context of this, your game is not a GTA 6. What do you think you're doing being $100? We're not buying this. That leads
yeah,
to CEOs being upset, goals not being met, and more people being laid off because it's like, hey, we couldn't sell X amount of $100 games. Well, it's like, well, you chose to make it $100. Like you don't have the
mhm,
pull, you don't have that, you know, drive, whatever the case is.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy because it's like, okay, like, do you want 5 copies of GTA 6, or do you want the machine that runs GTA 6 for the same price?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like on top of that, it's like, oh, is a single player game gonna be $100 too? It's like, okay, like the value proposition of, oh, this 10-hour game is like the value of it, is that gonna be as good as buying the machine to play the game itself? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
it's
That's the thing. People had to
like it
decide between getting a Switch and getting GTA 6. Like
yeah.
it's a very interesting dilemma. I don't man, I think it's gonna go for $80. I don't think 100. 100 is a huge price jump. Like
Yeah, yeah. Like, dude, there were, like, somewhat riots on the $10 jump. Like, I feel like $10 was, like, a very substantial, like, "Hey, okay, we understand," from 60 to 70.
mhm.
But also, I'm not gonna like, the 60 just sounded like such a good number because it's like, oh, 50 is, like, half,
Yeah.
and then you okay, just throw $10 on top. And then now it's like 70 just feels a little, ooh,
Yeah.
feels a bit weird, you know?
I agree. I absolutely agree.
But does it matter if we're just Game Pass
True.
connoisseurs?
True. Well, yours is about to expire, so better
Yeah,
better
you're
better
right.
figure it out. But yeah, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. This concludes the news. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Any closing remarks that you had before we end the episode?
There was like one minor news. Basically, Sony. It's not nothing crazy. Instead of having two CEO or for PlayStation, instead of having two CEOs, they have one CEO.
Oh,
So
okay.
they had one guy do hardware, the other guy do software slash like studio relations or studio head.
Hmm.
And now it basically said, okay, well the hardware guy is gonna be the main guy now.
Interesting.
They
So more
probably demoted
PS5
him because all
Pros.
those games got canceled.
Stupid.
Honestly, bro, dude, bro, put me in, coach. I just make the game, bro. Make the game.
Oh man. Here's the thing, they're gonna make it and then it's gonna bomb and you're gonna be upset, is what's gonna happen. Put me in, coach. Bloodborne, easy win. I'm
Bro,
telling you right
I'll
now.
go boot up the PS3 right now just to play this freaking factions game, man.
There'll be like there's like two people online. It's like, we believe it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that concludes this episode of Beard Bites. Thank you guys for listening. Next game that we're gonna talk about on Is It Gas on Game Pass is gonna be Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. We'll see how that goes. I am actually kind of excited to play it, to be honest, but we'll see. We'll see if it lives up to expectations. Any last words before I put you down for good?
Closing remarks. Watch Ted Lasso. If I'm just being honest, bro.
Mm.
Go to 123.com if you have to.
That doesn't. What are you talking about? We believe in only legal streaming on this platform.
Bro, you talk about legality. You just out here ripped the freaking Ben 10 theme song at the start,
I'm about
bro.
to do it again,
The
bro.
FBI is gonna come get us.
I'm gonna make sure we get banned.
This
But
guy. No, hey. Anyways, whatever, bro.
if we get banned next time, then it was fun. We got 10 episodes in before we got banned.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say that since this is episode 10, there was a joke that they used to say that they said in one of my programming classes
Oh God.
that there is there are 10 people. Wait, give me a second. What was it? Okay, okay. There are 10 people in the world. Those that understand binary and those that don't. And that's the joke. And if you didn't get it, then you don't know.
Yeah, you're a 0, not a 1. Got him. Ha 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 ha.
No, that's not what it is. Oh
Oh,
my
God
god.
damn it. All right.
Bro, I'm
Well.
about to pull up the whole sheet right now. No, anyways, I'll
Okay.
explain the joke.
Okay. All right.
If you guys want to Google it, Google it.
What should they
But
Google?
if you know, you know. Uh, wait, I have to, let me. You think you're close to your remarks while I get to Google, right?
I don't have a closing remarks. You have 10 seconds to figure it out before I close
Dude,
this.
how do you not have any closing remarks?
I said my piece. 10.
Okay,
9.
just okay. Wait. If you just want to understand the joke, just type in binary joke. There are 2 people.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.